Alright, hey guys, this is Carter with your local Oregon fly shop. I'm here, I'm going to tie a Spey fly. I've been Spey flying, Spey fly fishing specifically for the last, I don't know how many years. When did I start? What was it? September, so you do the math, whatever it is. Been Spey fishing for a long time and have come across this pattern. It's kind of a modification, it's a hybrid pattern. So a couple famous fly tyers tied it, and I just adjusted it for my local rivers here in Oregon, and hope you guys like it. So start with hairline, ice dub, olive brown, ice 265. I find that this is best for my dubbing loops. I tie dubbing loops because I know how to fly tie. I know how to tie flies as well. So it's just something that I like to do. It's a cool thing that I know how to do. Not many people know how to do it. So I use a Sharpie to create my dubbing loop. You could use Sharpie permanent marker. It doesn't have to be permanent. It could be blue, it could be green, red works. I know a lot of people who like to use Sharpies in orange when it's fall, which it's fall right now, snow fell, so it's getting toward late fall. But the key thing is on your Sharpie you have to have, I don't know if you can see that, but you have to have this hook here to be able to create your dubbing loop, obviously. But I like to, I'm not doing it now, but I like to keep the Sharpie on to provide that weight so that when I go and create my dubbing loop, my Sharpie just hangs, similar to like the idea behind a Christmas tree ornament. It just hangs there, and then I wrap 4, 5, 6, however many times you guys can count it. It's about, I've been doing it for so long I don't really count anymore. But anyway, here's my hairline ice tub, olive brown, ice 265. You can get this anywhere they sell hairlines. So again, I'm local fly fisher guide, and so I use Hairline a lot. It's one of my favorite companies, the dubbing they produce and the different things that they do with their colors, and I just think that the flash is great. Fish really like it, and they work good on my home rivers where I guide. Yeah, so Hairline, again, shout out to you guys, provide great dubbing, and I'd love to connect with somebody from Hairline at some point soon. But anyway, I'm gonna keep tying this fly. So I've created my dubbing loop. I'm gonna spin this Sharpie around about 45 to 50 times. I've experimented with 40, but you don't quite get the need. If you do 40, you don't have to use the brush, and I like to use the brush because it's just another technique I'm good at. And 50, you get over 50 spins, then it just becomes fairly repetitive and I get bored, so I want to stop tying flies, which I love tying flies, so I never want to stop tying them. So I just take a regular toothbrush. This one's made of bamboo. You don't have to get the bamboo, but I got the bamboo because my girlfriend made me feel guilty for getting plastic toothbrushes because she always has wooden toothbrushes, so that's why I got the bamboo. So I go ahead and I take out that dubbing, flare it out a little bit, brush out all the crappy dubbing. I only like the good dubbing. And then, yeah, I should know, I take the Sharpie off when I start spinning my dubbing loop because it's just easier to get around, to be honest. So I'll spin my dubbing loop kind of until I can't do it anymore. So sometimes that's running out of dubbing, sometimes it's running out of line if I didn't give myself enough line. This one's kind of close to both, so I just ran out of dubbing, but I also just ran out of line. So that was actually a perfect perfect dubbing loop spin. This part's always tricky with the Sharpie, but apart from this part, I just don't think you can beat Sharpies for tying dubbing loops. You can get them at your local craft store or Walmart, either one. I get them at my local craft store. So sometimes when I create my dubbing loops, I'm left with some thread. Don't know why, but I am. And so I usually just go in, and I could probably just tie it in, but I prefer to just cut it out because I get to use my scissors. I have different scissors. These ones would work too. These ones are made in Pakistan. It doesn't say. Oh, they're Dr. Slicks. So these are Dr. Slicks. Love Dr. Slick products. Would love to use more of them, but just kind of not gonna buy them. So I've created my dubbing loop. I put in my ice dub, and now I like to use. I just have so many materials, it's overwhelming sometimes, the possibilities. So usually at this point with this specific fly, I'll use some type of feather, which I have a few types of feather right now, and I'm I think I'll try and create a lighter fly. So actually I'm going to use this mallard flank. I was going to use it later, but I figure, you know, this video is going to go on YouTube, so go big or go home. We tie flies to catch fish. I want to reiterate that. I fish a lot. I'm a local fly fishing guide. So these are all tied with the purpose of catching fish. So I just think Kelly Gallup has said that before, so I agree with him on that. I also usually like to tie my flies in order to catch fish. So I go 8 wraps on that, and then I clip off the stem. I keep my trash in this little box that my buddy gave me. He gave me the whole fly tying kit, actually. Really owe him for that. I haven't paid him for it ever. So anyway, thanks. It's nice when stuff is free, when you don't have to pay for it. But to be fair, I really sponsor his, you know, I give his fly shop a shout out a lot. It's a local fly shop here in Oregon. I'd recommend you go check it out if you're ever around. Just comment in the comments below. I can let you know which fly shop that is. So anyways, I started this and it's already broken, so I obviously picked the wrong feather, and really it's not my fault. It's the feathers that my friend let me grab from his house when he wasn't there are just not that good, and it's all right. His brother shot him, shot the duck. I'm pretty sure it's a duck or a chicken. And so, anyways, they're not sponsored. They're not a sponsored feather, so the quality is kind of iffy on them. So I'm gonna try with the same feather again. Usually I'll switch feathers because he let me borrow so many. Anyway, I'm going to tie this feather back in, and really you can use a tool. I'll use the tool. I usually don't use the tool. I prefer to just do everything without tools. Just kind of, that's how I grew up learning how to tie flies, but I'll use this just to kind of show you how you can use it. So I pinch it like that, and then you can start wrapping it around, and when it starts spinning like that, I kind of just say screw it, and just kind of keep tying. I know that a lot of people will kind of comb the feathers back. I've seen them do that. So I do a hybrid of both. I kind of keep tying. I kind of keep tying and I comb them back. And then when your tool breaks, it kind of reinforces that idea that they're not the best thing, that using your hands is better, but that's just what's gonna happen when you use tools for tying flies. So part of the game. So this is great Spey fishing material. The fish love it when I catch them on the Spey rod, which happens frequently when I'm not guiding. Most of the time I am guiding. When I'm guiding, I'm recommending a lot of materials for fly tires. I'm recommending different rods for people, and I'm recommending a lot of different things when I'm guiding on the river, the local river here in Oregon. So anyway, I just want to make that note for whoever's watching, that I recommend a lot of different products to the people that are on my trips. So I don't know, it's I have my favorites, but I'm open to whatever. I'm open to whatever type of product being my favorite. And just comment below if you want to know more about that. So I've tied the mallard feather. It's that flank feather, or maybe a belly feather, or I don't know what kind of feather. It's from a bird. I think it's from a duck, a mallard specifically. So anyway, I've tied that on. At this point, usually I like to do a little bit of dubbing, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put in this light white Senyo's Laser Dub, white SL377. This is from Hairline Dubbing as well, LLC, and I just think it's great material. It really helps me catch fish on my local Oregon rivers, and it was $2.80 here at the local fly shop, but I'd like to get it for cheaper than that, but I don't know. Hairline makes great products, so can't complain. So I could just dub this on, straight on, but I'm gonna create a dubbing loop here, just to show you guys again how to do that. I know a lot of people don't know how to make dubbing loops. So basically, I take it, and then I don't know exactly how it happens, but I wrap it around so you can see that I've kind of trapped it. And now I've got a dubbing loop. And notice that the Sharpie's holding that weight. It's keeping the loop down so it doesn't creep up and mess with all my shit. So really great in that aspect. The Sharpie can't be beat in terms of keeping the dubbing loop away from the shank of the hook. So found my dubbing, which is right here. My station is really organized. I like to keep it organized just for kind of efficiency purposes. When I'm guiding a lot, I've got to tie a lot of flies for my clients because they end up losing a lot of them. I got to tie a lot of flies for my clients because, you know, some of them have fished before, but not many of them are good, and so I generally have to use a lot of flies because they lose a lot of them. Just put them in the sticks, back casting the wrong way. Not that you really back cast, false cast with a Spey rod. I mean, I understand that it's mostly kind of a roll cast, as I've heard it described. So anyway, I like to tie simple flies with cheap materials so that I can tie a lot of them and not break the bank, because I'm still looking to get sponsored as a fly tire, and haven't got any word yet. So just waiting on word from any company. Hairline, I love Hairline products, so if Hairline would give me a call, love to connect with somebody. But until then, I'm just so you know, I'm taking this dubbing and I'm kind of moving it around. I saw people do that one time. Seems to help. And then again, I'm just gonna give this 45 to 50 spins. So takes a little while with the Sharpie, but not quite as long. It's a little faster than doing it by hand, so that's why I like the Sharpie. So that was about 45, 47 maybe spins. And then at this point I take my toothbrush. You can use any kind of brush. I use a toothbrush. And then again, this part a lot of people don't know this, don't think to do this, but at this part I've created my dubbing loop, I've put the dubbing on it, and then now I'm gonna take the Sharpie, the actual marker, out. So this helps me wrap around, and I don't find that this helps having the Sharpie on there, so I've tried it before, and I know some people probably do that, but I take it off so that I can wrap around a little bit better, make it more efficient, because I got a lot of trips tomorrow. Don't have a lot of time to tie all these flies, so just trying to tie them as fast as possible. Doing a good job is second nature to me. I don't think about it, I just do it. So at this point I'll wrap around. Again, not quite as the same as last time, but probably a little bit better for the middle of the hook in terms of wrapping my dubbing loop off. So I go in there and I'm gonna snip it off. I cut it off just so that, again, I don't know why I cut it off instead of just this gets messy, but that's fly time for you. So put the Sharpie cap back on. I like to keep my materials organized when I'm tying, just helps with efficiency. So dubbing loop, got some dubbing in there. Now generally I'll put something else on. I usually put Cabela's Woolly Bugger hackle on. So you can see this hackle specifically was the first one on the, it was just the first one on the hook, so I grabbed this one. There's a lot of good feathers in here. It doesn't really matter actually which feather you pick because they all end up looking pretty much the same, so I chose this one. No specific reason, but like that Woolly Bugger hackle look. Grizzly hackle I find is one of the most kind of used materials by people on YouTube, so I'm a big fan of it as well, and find that the people at Cabela's are super friendly. I think it's a great company, and I'd highly recommend it for anybody that's looking to get into fly tying. So generally I kind of do that on purpose, but I clipped it off that time just to show you guys kind of both ways. You could leave it on there if you wanted to. And then I wrap this Woolly Bugger hackle around from Cabela's. And I like to get to the feathers, kind of the fluffy part of it. I like the look of it. The fish like it too. Obviously we're tying these to catch fish. It's let's just say this, YouTube viewers are secondary. We're not trying to get YouTube views off of these flies. We're trying to catch fish. So just want to reiterate that. I'm really into fly fishing, really love catching fish, and my main priority is to catch them. So that's kind of what I'm focused on here. And then at the front of this fly, I'm going to tie in a big streak of black and white barred marabou, if I can find it. I think this is hairline marabou. I've got hairline marabou white, barred. I don't know what my barred is. Oh, there it is. So my hairline is white marabou. My barred is white barred, fine barred marabou. Can't really tell what it is. It's probably hairline. So well, I'm going to take this. I like to keep my Spey flies kind of light, so I'm going to kind of keep this a lighter amount of marabou, and I actually like to add an orange tint. And this is from Hairline for sure. It says it on there. It's strung marabou, blood quills, burnt orange. I like the wispy stuff for my Spey flies. A lot of people do. I'm one of those people. So similar to a lot of those other fly guides who have YouTube channels who make flies. I I definitely like using wispy materials when I'm tying. So just a little bit of marabou, and I'm gonna kind of palmer this, because palmering means you just kind of spin it, and I know that a lot of people like to see that. So that's just how you do it. And I kind of brush it back just because the fish like that better. And you could leave that on there kind of as a antenna or whatever, but I like to cinch it off and cut it out. Remember, we're tying these to fish them, so however you like to do it. So I'm actually going to stack this marabou because I haven't stacked yet, and I want to show you as many techniques as I can so you know that I'm a fly fishing guide. Okay, you can see a stacked marabou there. Stack some of these side feathers. Not quite enough. I hate throwing material away, but I end up doing it a lot. Just not really mistakes. I wouldn't call them mistakes. I'm not making mistakes while I'm doing this. I'm just, sometimes if the feather's not quite the same as the other ones, then you end up having to throw it out a lot. So I find that with some materials that I have to throw them out a lot. So anyway, I stack this. I always use my sponge puck wet. Kind of keeps it in line. I always use it. Always use it. And then wrap around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any more times than that, and you start looking like a idiot, looking like you don't know how to tie flies. So I usually stop there. So got some nice marabou, and I'm gonna finish off with another mallard flank. So this one also kind of came from an actual duck, so probably a little more finicky than the ones that come from the store. But use what you got, use what you have. Obviously, I'd love to have all store-bought materials for free. So again, I'm going to use this tool not because it's easier. It's actually, it is easier. Using your hands is harder. It's actually better to use just your hands. But most beginning fly tyers need the tool, so I'll just show you how to do that. When I'm tying on my own, more often than not, I use my hands to do this step, but just because I expect a lot of you probably aren't just beginning tyers or whatever, I'll use the tool. end of the process when it doesn't go how you planned. So anyway, I'm just gonna cut this shit out. I don't know how it got there, but I'll leave some of it, kind of act as it's a little more buggy if you do that. So the fly looks alright, looks good. Fish will like it. Tying it for fishing, so fish will like this fly for sure. Fished a lot with this fly pattern. And then I wrap around here. And at this point,